Thank you for joining us today and welcome to the John Mini podcast, where we explore all things urban horticulture indoors and out through the perspectives of the many amazing people who have made it their career. I'm your host, Mark Mini, president of John Mini Distinctive Landscapes. At John Mini, our team's purpose is to make places beautiful by bringing nature to the places people live, work, and play. Today's episode is short and sweet. We've got about a quick 20-minute conversation with a teammate from the John Mini team in New York, Matt Wessel. Matt has about 10 years of experience in outdoor urban horticulture. He worked his way up from the ground up in the business, starting as an assistant foreman in landscape installations. He then moved up to foreman in maintenance, supervisor, then an account manager in New York City. And today he's the director of the entire outdoor division at John Mini, a team of over 50 passionate people. In today's episode, Matt shares his favorite tool in the craft of outdoor urban landscapes. It's a short and fun conversation, but it's a question we love to ask colleagues and counterparts in the world of urban horticulture, right? We're a passionate bunch, and anyone who cares deeply about their craft, they really pay attention to the details, analyzing all the specific tools, the equipment, and the processes in their work, always hunting down the opportunities to improve their work and take it to the next level. All right, let's head over to our conversation with Matt, where he shares what his favorite tool in urban landscaping is and why. Welcome, Matt, to the John Mini podcast.
Thanks, Mark. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, first time to have you on. I'm pumped, man. You're a teammate of mine. We were just, saying this is a fun thing to do, to step out of our craft and just, we're running and in action all the time, but we get to talk about our craft today. We'll be talking about what our favorite tool in the craft of urban landscaping is. Before, I ask you that question, why don't we start by just giving our perspectives on why we think it's important to have this convo, like why go deep on the importance of a tool.
No, totally, Mark. I think it's important to talk about these things. Just the urbanscaping field industry, it's just growing and it's so unique compared to traditional landscaping. And I really think it's something people can really focus on at a microscopic level.
Cool. Microscopic level. So you mean getting granular on a specific aspect of the craft?
Yeah, I mean, we can get granular about anything. Whether it comes to plants, the way we do the work, how we do the work, what we use to do the work. It's just so specific to our trade and our craft that it's something we have to talk about.
Yeah, no, I love that word, microscopic. So when I was thinking about it before this and why, personally, why I love this question, going deep on one specific granular thing, just a tool. Because the way I think about it is as a professional in any craft, when you love something and you want to perform at the highest level, right at a microscopic level, use that word, every little detail matters, right? And you need to optimize those details in order to perform your best. I gave this analogy when I set up, asked you to do this podcast, because it's a mainstream one. It's my favorite, right? I said Kobe Bryant, right? Everyone knows who that is. He's a great NBA basketball player. So in his book and also anecdotally stories about him, he was known for someone who always hunted down and analyzed the details in his craft, right? Which is to get an advantage in the game, right? One example is he had a partnership with Nike. All basketball players have a lot of partnership with shoe makers. But what he did was he worked alongside the engineers and the shoe designers at Nike to think through every aspect of the shoe, right? That's a tool in his craft. And he wanted to, get every advantage, whether it's faster agility or cut or speed in his game, right? In our craft, I think urban landscaping, our tools are incredibly important details. They're not even little details, right? In getting an advantage, right? Your tools, the selection of them, the care of them, are going to make significant differences in the quality of work you put out there. So I just think just getting microscopic on pieces of our profession is important. So I love that word.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, these tools, they're an extension of us. We need them to do our craft, man.
Yeah, an extension of us. I love that. was like, I'm in an analogy mood. Like it's an artist, right? Like an artist, like an extension of them is like their tool, whether like they're using like a paintbrush or something like that. Like that is, it's like part of you, right? To be able to execute your craft at a beautiful level. Let's do it. So what's currently your favorite tool in urban landscaping and why?
I mean, it's hard to pick a favorite.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
I love them all, love everything we use. I mean, right now, top of my list are my Felco 2s. I'm got Swiss heritage, so I'm a little
What's
biased.
a Felco 2 for our audience? I know what a Felco
Yeah, of
2
course,
is.
sorry.
I know what a Felco 2
Felco 2 is
a
bypass pruner, hand pruner, something that I have on me at all times. I mean, along with that, I could argue my folding saw, soil knife, hand trowel. These are all things that I carry on me daily that allow me to do our craft.
But your favorite right now is that hand pruner, right?
Yeah, the hand pruner.
Right. What? So how? Maybe this isn't like. So I'm going to dive into like the reasons that's your specific favorite right now. One, I guess, question is like, how often are you using that tool in your craft, and does that play into why it's your favorite, like the volume of use?
I'm using it multiple times a day, whether it be to prune material or even to prune material to examine the health of a plant. The tool helps me do so many things, and I use it on a daily basis.
Cool. So interesting. So like that opens up a question I wasn't even like thinking about. You obviously, we're talking about hand pruner is your favorite tool. What so you prune with it like that? That's, we don't have to go deep on that with the hand pruner, but you just like offer an example. Like, are there different reasons you're pruning? Like, is it for like horticultural examination versus like just aesthetics and something? Yeah.
No, of course. I mean, there's definitely aesthetic pruning that's involved. That's, shaping our material. It's pruning flowering material, deadheading. But yeah, it's by making these cuts, it can expose diagnostics to determine health of plants and other material.
Cool. Why do you choose like specifically a hand pruner versus like maybe like some other pruners like the same category, right? Obviously, like there's loppers, there's pole pruners, head shears, but like why the hand pruner?
I mean, as you know, urbanscaping, we're doing this work in cities, and oftentimes we're elevated. We're not at the street level. We don't have the luxury that a traditional suburban landscaper has of having a truck and a trailer curbside, and you can run and grab any tool. This is a tool that can sit in my pocket, in my bag, come with me on the subway, and it's just easy to carry around. Always have it on me. Never leave home without it.
Dude, I love that. I love that example. Like if you were, first of all, like hand pruners, like it's definitely in the tops of my list. If you like flip the microphone or the questions on me, but one of the things like that's like on my peripheral, on like quote unquote favorite tool in urban landscaping that I think connects to your point, that I think people don't think about is the backpack. Like
that's my truck and trailer, my backpack.
Your truck and trailer, right? No, but I like think about that. I've always like been in pursuit of like the perfect backpack for urban landscaping, right? Because like I don't know, like the analogy, like we're like the landscape ninjas, right? Like we're going into like wild spaces, we're using public transportation, like we're up on rooftops, we're going up like weird, the strangest like conveyance paths to get to sites, sometimes like narrow spaces, and you gotta be like nimble, you gotta like be comfortable all day, you gotta like think about your strain and tired, and like your backpack's like really important. Like you gotta have the right tools at the right time, you gotta carry the right weight around, like you gotta be able to access your tools simply. Like it's just like and it's gotta last. Like you don't want your backpack to like rip or like tear. So it's like a really important thing that I feel like, and I consider it like a tool in that sense. Would you call it the truck and trailer?
Yeah, that's my truck and trailer. But that's my analogy. But
I like that.
But I like your analogy too. Like we are ninjas out there. I mean, that's the best way to put it.
Like we're accessing these like spaces and places you wouldn't even think about. Cool. So you went to. So hand pruner, and I'm sticking to there, but you did already mention your preference on brand and model, right? So like, what is that brand and model again, and why? Like, is that matter to you, like the specific brand and model?
Yeah, I mean, well, Felco too. Like I said, I got Swiss
Felco's the brand, right?
That's the brand. The model, 2's the model.
Yeah.
The reason I like it is it's been their staple first pruner since I believe 1948 is when it's come out, and it hasn't changed since. So I mean, there's something to say about that. I mean, they keep on coming out with newer models, but this is the one that always sells off the shelves.
Yeah, Felgo is like a tried and true. How important is a quality brand versus a non-quality brand when you talk about like urban landscaping tools?
I mean, quality is everything. I mean, you need these tools to last day in, day out. They need to be able to carry with you, lightweight enough, and also durable, like you said. We're ninjas. We're accessing walls, sometimes elevated spaces, and you want something that can take the abuse that it might see.
Cool. And what about like performance? Like, does that matter? Like, do you think there's a variance in the brand and model using in not just like durability but like performance?
Oh yeah, I mean the cleanest cuts are made by the Felco, and
I don't know. I have an argument on that, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean if we blindfolded you and we put two different pruners in your hand, you would be much more pleased with the feeling of the cut of the Felco. It's the bypass pruner that they developed is top notch.
Felgos are awesome. That's awesome. We should do a blindfold test on pruners. Well, I don't know. I feel like you do one in each hand though, like left versus right.
Yeah, you got to be ambidextrous, right?
No, I joke that I would argue because 100% like the brand and the quality matters, and like every brand, I feel like there's a lot of good options out there for a lot of specific tools. But some also times brands just are better at a certain tool than another. And Felcos are always like tops in hand printers for sure. The only one I joke about is, I don't think I have like data on this, but I love a hand pruner. My favorite is ARS, which is the brand. It's a Japanese brand. The model specifically I like is the VS8, which I think is comparable to like a Felco 2 or a 4. I like the non-rotating handle. That's just like because I think the rotating handle might give some comfort over time, but I like the precision that I have and feel when I don't have a rotating handle. But I love that one because I feel it's just so smooth, the cut. The bypass blades I feel like are precise, and the finer blade of the two is just like so sharp, so it gives these like clean cuts, and like you have this click to release action on it, and then when you just like start like going for it, it's just like feels like butter, like the way it's cutting. But I don't know. I mean, between those two brands, you might be like splitting hairs, like ARS. I'm partial to, but Felco 2s are like top of the line without question, often the gold standard. Yeah.
Next episode we'll do a challenge.
Just do a challenge on there. How would we test that though? We gotta like look. We have to like get on the microscope and look at the cut on the branch, different lengths or thickness of the branch and stuff. Get microscopic there. Cool. What like so? Let's flip it. Like we talked about like the positives of having a quality brand. What are the implications of using a poor quality version of this tool, specifically like a hand pruner in our craft?
So other hand pruners I've used, Felco 2s, you can take them apart, replace parts, but they do have a lot of solid pieces. The handles are all forged together. Some of the other products made out of plastic sometimes, obviously not as durable, and the blades, they get super dull really quick. So the Felco 2 has just been proven to withstand time.
Cool. So you like kind of referenced durability and longevity a couple of times. Like how long should this tool last in your career as an urban horticulturist?
I've had my Felco 2s since for about 10 years, my whole career, the same pair of pruners. I just keep them clean and sharp, and they've lasted me my entire career so far.
The same one?
The same pair. Yeah, just got to sharpen it, clean
Never lost it, always took care of it.
No. I mean, I've definitely lent it out and had to track it down from a few people, but
I've done that before.
But that's how much I care about my piece of equipment. It's my baby.
I love that. Like, how do you go? Go deeper on that. Like, how important is the care of your tool?
The care. I mean, the care is everything, and that's what's going to make your tool withstand the test of time. I mean, just talking about the pruner, like focusing on the pruner, keeping your blade sharp and clean is what's going to give you precise cuts and isn't going to cross-contaminate different plants, because you're going from site to site, pruning all different kinds of material with this one piece of equipment. So we got to make sure they're always sharp and they're always clean before starting work. But just with any tool, the more you take care of it, the more you're going to get out of it. Like I said, it's my baby. I treat it so.
Yeah, that's really, I agree 100%. And like I think you even referenced like an example you don't even think about, like just like in like, what is that care and maintenance of that tool look like from like day to day versus like almost site to site? Like you have to, like you almost reference like cleaning it.
Yeah, I mean, cleaning it is like a site to site thing. Yeah. You're on a site and you're pruning. You might even be cleaning in between prunes because you notice you just cut a plant that has something on it, so you're going to clean that blade off so you don't cross contaminate. But it's definitely a site to site thing. Sharpening, I would say it's more by feel. It depends on how much you cut, and the size of stuff you cut dulls down the blade. But once you start feeling it getting a little dull, I pull my sharpening stone out of my bag, sharpen it up, and on to the next. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, and like in an analysis, right? Like, because like you don't have to sharpen it when it doesn't need to be sharpened, but like making sure you're looking at your equipment before using it.
And like something like sharpness, maybe not even something you can see with the eye unless you're looking at a microscopic level. But when you can really feel if you're getting a good cut, and then also you can see the cut on the plant. Is there any tearing, or is it a nice clean cut? And
that's a really good telling point. Yeah, you're right, 100%. Like you can look at it before like a day, right, or the week kicks off, and see if there's like a nick, right, like something like that's like a bigger problem in your pruner. But you might not be able to like tell how sharp it is until you actually like do a couple cuts, and you're like, all right, let me look at that cut. How did that feel? And that's and then you might need to take some action. That's cool. So yeah, this like makes me think about this is an example I have from another teammate at John Mini. Do you know Lal?
Of course.
Yeah, he's a senior horticulturalist. He's worked with John Mini. The man. Yeah, he takes a lot of pride in his craft, and he's a true professional. He's worked with the John Mini team for like a couple decades at least. But there's this iconic site we take care of, the Winter Garden at Brookfield Place. So he's an indoor senior horticulturalist. And out the Winter Garden, we have like 16, 50 foot or so Washingtonia palms. And for at least decade plus, he's been part of the team doing the care of these palms. And one of his big responsibilities is pruning on a monthly basis there. And I've watched him a couple times. It's like a night job that he sets up for his job for the night, and he whips out these, they're like 28, maybe 30 inch loppers that he's going to use to prune off like the bottom fronds for aesthetics and safety reasons. So he takes out these pruners, but he's had these pruners for like definitely like 20 years or so. Same ones, wood handle, like quality made. But before he starts, I see him. He's like looking at the blades, like checking it, like doing a couple like dry cuts, like. And then he'll go up, do one tree, come down, do the same thing. Like look at the blades, like clean them, finish his shift, look at the equipment, like clean it, like assess it. I'm like, that's it. Like right there. He's taking care of like such a marquee account. He's been using the same pruners for, I don't know, years. Yeah. I could probably at least a decade or so. Quality made product, but also as much of the sweat equity he put into that product of like ensuring that he's like taking care of that equipment, treating it, like cleaning it, just caring for it like a professional. And then, the outcome is like quality work and pride in your work. Right. But this is just a cool example. It makes me think about it.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't have a clean tool, you don't have a sharp tool, you're trying to do so much positive work by possibly pruning a plant for like health and aesthetics or for disease purposes. But if you don't cut it right, get a good clean cut, you have some tears, you're just opening it up for disease and other problems to occur. So you were trying to do good, so we got to take every step.
Yeah, setting yourself back, right? Like it doesn't matter what your intention is if you're using the wrong or you're approaching your craft the wrong way or using the wrong tools. Yeah, that's a good point. What are the reasons may we be missing? What you have any other reasons this is your favorite tool in the urban landscape that we might not have covered?
I mean, I think we've pretty much covered the reasons why it's so useful. I mean, I might be a little biased to it, but it's, like I said, a tool that this one hand pruner I've had for about 10 years now, and continue to assume I'll have it for another decades more. Just because, like you said, you put the sweat equity in, and I think
That's awesome. I think I do want to highlight that point, the nuances of urban, landscaping and horticulture, and how that played into your choice of this tool, comparative to there's a large, outdoor landscaping industry, but a lot of it's done in the suburbs, and that played into your decision because we're in micro spaces sometimes where I feel the attention to detail is has to be heightened, because the spaces are so small, and you're conveying a lot on your feet from site to site. So that played into your decision of that, my favorite tool in the urban landscape, which I thought was cool. I need it to be, a tool that gives me precision right on smaller sites, and is easy to convey. It's versatile. Yes, I'm sure you walk into a site and you're I wish I had a larger pruner to go a little quicker here. But this tool is the tried and true, because it'll give me that when that case happens, okay, I'll deal with that. But it gives me more versatility when I really need the more precise application and stuff like that. So I just like how you that was one of your.
Yeah, no, thanks. I mean, it's same. It's, you could argue also hand shears too, but even a pair of hand shears when you're shaping a boxwood, for example, you're making cuts to round it off, and you're fraying leaves and causing some unhappiness to the plant. But with a hand pruner, you can make more focused, deeper cuts inside the plant to achieve the same shape without causing all this leaf fray, and just results in a happier, healthier plant.
Hell yeah. Cool. Any final thoughts you'd like to share on, maybe not just about the specific tool we're talking about that you referenced today, or just why selection of tools is important?
Well, I think definitely the focus is on the unique world that we work in, our unique industry of urbanscaping, and just being able to have everything on you, because we're not only dealing with the vertical challenges of getting stuff up to elevated spaces, but we also deal with crazy traffic challenges that you don't experience in the suburbs. So oftentimes the subway is also our truck and trailer. We're moving around the city using mass transit, because as many New Yorkers know, that's a lot quicker than driving. So yeah, I can almost argue the subway is just as much just as much of a tool.
Cool. Awesome. I always, to round out our conversation, I always close with this question. It doesn't have to be specific to this episode, but we're a passionate team, so I always like to dig deep and ask, what is something you're particularly passionate about right now in your craft?
I'm just really passionate on just the impact that the work that we do is how our cherished clients receive it. And, oftentimes we're working in a lot of public spaces, and some of the work we do is a service to our fellow New Yorkers. So just to see how that impacts the city and the people that work, live, and play in it.
Awesome, man. That's a really cool, well said. We cherish our clients for sure, and we'll do whatever to get it right for them. And it's the implications aren't always just for their end users, but in that dense urban environment, New York City, we're just impacting. It's hard to quantify all the people who are also encountering that from the the public side of life, and thinking about your craft and its impact from a community perspective is pretty cool. So well said.
Thank you.
All right, man. That's all I got. I appreciate you sharing your perspective today. It's always fun to chat with you. So thanks, man.
Thanks, Mark. Really, really appreciate you having me.
Thank you, Matt, for sharing your thoughts with us today and going deep on your favorite tool, the Felco 2. Thank you to all our listeners for taking the time to be here with us today. Listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey. We're still exploring different types of episodes and improving the process as we go. If you guys have any questions, ideas for future episodes, or my favorite, any constructive feedback, please email us at podcast@johnmini.com. And as always, a big final thank you to all our clients at John Mini Distinctive Landscapes. You guys allow us to make our passion our profession. None of this is possible without your support and vision to bring nature to the places people live, work, and play. This episode's a wrap. I hope you guys have a great day, and be sure to find a moment in your busy day to cherish the nature around you.